All right, here we are, Sunday Night Live. And are we on yet? Uh, sort of. Yeah, I guess we're happening. All right, Swaddy Kap Tukon. Swaddy Kap, Swaddy Kap. Namaste, Namaskar. and Aloha. Monday morning here in the bright side of the planet, and Sunday night still in the on the dark side of the planet. Um, anyway, but good morning, everybody, and good evening, everybody. Hope I hope by now everybody is starting to realize that um, you know what I really wish I could do. I wish I could see. I wish I could ask a question and see and get some hands. I'd like to get the answer to a question, a very important question. How come nobody's here? Are you guys here? Anybody there on Facebook and what's that? LinkedIn, YouTube, X? Are you guys there? Yes, no, no, no. It's a secret, right? Keep it a secret. Let's keep it a secret. If anybody's on X or you, what's it called? Facebook, just say, yeah, hi, oh, oh, hello. Oh, yeah, yay, finally. Oh, Swaddy Cup. All right, Swaddy Cup, Swaddy Cup. Thank you, Nicole. And of course, what's Nella D. I bet you had an incredible dinner. Incredible, I'm sure. I'm sure it was an incredible dinner of beautiful, wonderful salad or something. Yeah. So there's everyone: Jerry, Joanna, cool, Huayda. Huh? Fantastic, everyone. Okay, good. I'm so glad you're here. So anyway, I wish I could ask a question and see the answers, but I can't. But I'm just gonna ask it anyway. And hey, wow, Pittsburgh Christie, yes. All right. So here's the question. Raise your hand. I know I can't see it, but how many people here can say pretty confidently that they have control over their lives? I will talk about hormone blockers. Yes. Control over your lives. Anybody? Why not take T3? Huh. I'm not sure what you mean. Anyway, control over your lives. Yeah. Hey, Kathy. Fantastic. You're here from Texas. First time. Good, good, good. I hope you have a wonderful time. First question is, who has control over their lives? Come on. Anybody? Anybody? You decide what you're going to do and you do it, and it happens. Right? Right? Yeah. How many people are planning accidents? Do you plan accidents? You're planning accidents, right? No. Do you plan non accidents? Control over life for the last 2 weeks. Really? Not at all. First of all, when we talk about control over our lives, it means we're going to control over our behavior. Is that what we're talking about? Our behavior, what we do, or are we talking about uh, what happens in our lives? What are we talking about? Let's say we talk about our behavior. Okay, so I have control over my behavior. Right? I have control over whether I'm going to, you know, eat eat a donut or I'm going to eat an apple. Right? I have control over that. Right? And so can we assume then that before a behavior happens, I have to have the thought, right? Is that, are we can we agree on that or not? Left the dead end marriage, got my smile back. Absolutely. Well, hey, I'm like probably one of the only people of the world who, you say you got a divorce, I say congratulations. There's the ceremony. There's the what do you call it? Because there's only rare. I've only met I really one couple in my multiple decades on this planet. One couple who are really got to love each other, real respect, love, honor each other, and are kept their passion throughout the whole long time. Anyway, so no compromise, Anyway, so here's the thing: if thought produces behavior, right? We're going to assume that if thought produces, let's say I think I'm going to go to the store, therefore I go to the store, right? So the question really becomes: if my thoughts produce my behavior, where did my thought come from? Did you decide to think a thought, or did the thought just happen? Kind of like your heart beating. Are you beating your heart right now? Who's beating the heart? Anybody beating the heart? Who's digesting? Are you like purposely digesting right now? Can you tell me exactly how much lipase you're secreting? And those and how about those of you that have a thyroid? Are you producing? Tell me how much thyroid you're producing at this moment. Ovaries, testes. How's your pituitary doing? The point is, we don't know anything we're doing. Nothing. We're not doing anything. It's the wrong word. It's all happening to us, right? So it's all happening to us. Life is a happening. That's why when in my era, in the '60s, we never said, "Hey, what are you doing, man?" We said, "What's happening?" Hey, what's happening? Because we didn't know what's happening. I don't know. Do you know what's happening? Anyway, we're not doing anything. I don't know. I like to clarify that. For example, I was I was yesterday in the car at a red light and suddenly got hit from behind. Had to tow my car away and everything. So I spent about 3 or 4 hours doing that instead of getting home to go to sleep. And so, I mean, it. So you realize that kind of thing can happen at any time. So in other words, we are at the whim of what? Happenstance? We're at the whim of what? Anyway, I'm just giving you food for thought. No, there's no answers to this. The answer is eat, drink, and be merry. Because as Solomon says, that's it. Right? You know Solomon, right? Yeah. Anyway, so just as a reminder to everyone, we are I've got to so here's the problem. You guys are sending me really good questions here right now, live, and I can't answer them. I mean, if I do, it's not fair to the people that sent them in. So that's the format here, right? They're going to send it. People send in questions to the website, and I answer them. But the groups, the reason we have the groups is so we can interact. You ask a question, I answer, and I go, "Wait, I don't quite understand it." And I can clarify, and we can really interact. That's where I want it. So I really would love you guys to start joining these groups because we're meeting weekly. I mean, somehow, or twice a week for some groups. So it's really, that's how we can interact and really get, uh, you know, it's so much better than this. Uh, uh, but by the way, I still don't know where my thoughts come from. I don't know what I'm going to say till I say it, right? Do you? Unless you have a speech written out, I'm telling you, unless you have a speech written out and you're reading the speech or you have it memorized, unless that's the case, you don't know what you're going to say till you say it. You know, and if you don't know that, then you don't know that, but it doesn't mean that you know what you're going to say before you say it. You know, so in other words, your speaking is a happening. Why is he talking about this? I want to know about my thyroid. I want to know about my ovaries. I want to know about my. Okay. Turns out it's all related. It's all related. Anyway, so um, okay, so now uh, okay, so this person is coming asking a good question, Mooner, about thyroxide, take thyroid medication, and adrenals, and I really want to talk about that. You guys got to join these groups so we can do this. My gosh. Anyway, long. We need to have that other talk too about doing and being. What's the difference between doing and being? Anyway, forget that. Your brain finds a solution if you're in a situation that needs sorting. Your brain, your brain. So the brain does it, not me. My brain, which is an organ that is sending chemical messages to the next cell next to it, either epinephrine, serotonin, norepinephrine, dopamine, and so somehow it sends different chemical messages. I can't see how that happens. So I'm not sure how the brain does it. The mind is controlling the brain. Let's say that's true. So my mind, I have a thought. Yeah, that's true. So I'm afraid of something, and that gives me a whole neurological, physiological response. True. What if there's nothing there and I'm afraid? Because I think there's something there. There's really nothing there. Or what if I'm just generally worried about stuff and I have nothing I'm really worried about? And I'm still going to get that response. Anyway, we need to talk about this in more. By the way, I'm going to, this is one, I've decided to finish this one book instead of the other ones. Uh, and I'm going to get, within 2 weeks, it's going to be out. Yeah. Anyway, so these groups, health and healing, parasite, and CFCs. CFCs are what? Everyone, let me see. Are what people call what? What are CFCs? CFCs are the ones, those of us who don't think that astrology has anything to do with whack. It's really hard to say that have nothing to do with it. But like for example, I have a process going on in my prostate. I have a process going on in my pancreas, my liver, that's causing fermenting cells. Does that have a relationship to uh, people being born between June 21st and July 30th? No. So we're not going to use that word. We don't use Sagittarius, Leo. We don't use Capricorn. We don't use Aquarius. We don't use Virgo or Cancer. None of those signs do we use. We say chronically fermenting cells because that's what they are, right? Everyone? Yes. Okay, good. It is not common to get a keloid after a mastectomy. No, not common. Some people form keloids and other people don't. And so that's a big discussion in and of itself. Okay. So, yeah, and as you know, Dr. Thomas Lodi on all of the platforms except for X. X is Dr. Thomas Lodi, MD. Okay, okay, and that's all the platforms, right? And right now, it turns out that having been kicked off of TikTok, and they're still there, they find something wrong with everything I say. So I don't think we'll ever build that back up again. Anyway, should we do some questions, you guys? Yeah, I think so, because that's why we're here. Right. So now I gotta find them. Come on. Come on. Ugh, what? Is this it? Okay. Okay. I think so. Okay, good. Now let's go for this one here. I'm just trying to figure out who I am. I'm figuring out who I am. Any closer? Okay. There we go. Yeah. Can we do it like that? Sort of. Yeah. All right. So cool. First question is, and by the way, if you can't hear me, because I don't have this, I can't get these things to work. So I think I'm on the speaker, the microphone that's on the computer. So if you don't hear me, please let me know, because I get messages from when I'm having Zooms with people that they can't quite hear me too well. Okay. All right. So question is, and by the way, you know that you submit your questions uh to the website, right? drthomaslodi.com/live, right? Or I guess you can go to the Instagram boxes. If you have an active form of CFCs and you want to take care of it, you want it to be taken care of, then our clinic, my clinic in Arizona, an Oasis of Healing, is still alive and well. 20 years now. All right, so here, let's do the questions. Okay, well, first question is from Maria. And the question is, does drinking green tea or herbal tea with or right after meals block the absorption of iron? Well, that's a good question, right? And the answer is yes, it does block it. Green tea, like 30%, black tea, which is just a cooked version, is about 60%. However, if you have foods that have vitamin C in them, you're going to increase the absorption. And there's all sorts of stuff. So it's a very complex answer, and I'll try to talk a little bit about it. But just one thing to keep in mind is this: when we're eating, the food we're eating should be, I mean, if the food we were eating was in its the way it grew, natural condition, it's got water in it, it's got liquid, and you're chewing it, your saliva, and it's got the water in it, and it'll go down into your stomach, and your stomach has got a acid, a very low pH, meaning a strong acid, and it will combine with that. Then it'll secrete certain enzymes as well in the stomach and other compounds. That'll go into the duodenum, which is the upper part of your small intestines. More enzymes are secreted, and bile, and you can get a very good, efficient digestion. What you don't want to do is you don't want to dilute everything, meaning you don't want to drink anything while you're eating. And the only reason you would want to drink anything while you're eating is because you're eating food that's already had the water removed. Through what? Cooking. Cooking removes it. If you don't cook the food, if you don't cook the food, you don't get thirsty. You'll notice that. You don't get thirsty after a salad. You don't get thirsty after an apple. You don't get thirsty after, uh, eating broccoli dipped in cashew cheese sauce. You don't get thirsty. So drinking with meals is not healthy. It results in you dilute what you're eating, and you dilute the acids, and you dilute the enzymes, and you dilute it so that the actual digestive process is less efficient. So that's number one. So don't drink with meals at all, anything, right? And you probably should stop drinking at least 30 minutes before you eat anything. Stop drinking anything. But for like black teas and green teas and coffee and cocoa, all those things that have the ability to grab iron and stuff like that, maybe an hour before, and then an hour after, let it all get absorbed. You shouldn't be drinking, right? So the thing is that the you know tea. What is this? Anyway, teas have, what tea has what are called tannins and polyphenols, right? And uh, so, and these are compounds that are found in food that can grab iron, right? They do grab iron. Um, so, uh, but we're talking about tea, coffee, cocoa, wine has it. Some fruits have it. I mean, pears, grapes, berries, they all have polyphenols. Nuts, some nuts like almonds and walnuts, and so you can't get away from pecans. They have tannins and polyphenols, right? Even like legumes, like lentils and peas, they'll have it. Spinach has it. Herbs, spices. It means like you can't like not get um, these substances and chemicals in your diet if you're eating. However, keep in mind, if you're eating a healthy diet, you're going to get that. You're also going to get ascorbates, which are vitamin C, and they do the opposite. They increase iron absorption. How do they increase it? They increase it by uh, changing the iron from ferric to ferrous so that it can be absorbed. And then they upregulate the ability of the body to absorb ferrous. So they really help out a lot by ascorbates, vitamin C. Um, yeah. Okay. And so, now what are we talking about when we say polyphenols and tannins and all that sort of thing? We have to realize that polyphenols is uh, a large classification of plants, right? Um, which include tannins, catechins, flavonoids, phenolic acids, and things like that. Okay. Now, flavonoids are ubiquitous, all plants, right? Um, and tannins are just a special subgroup of them, which, again, the activity of these different groups is their hydroxyl groups, the OH negatives. And that's their activities, which give them antioxidant properties, anti-inflammatory properties, and also fighting CFC properties. So they're very important. And remember, we've talked about in the past how hydroxyl radicals are also the biochemical intermediate or end product that occurs in many chemical reactions in our body, and that we accumulate throughout the day hydroxyl radicals, OH negative, and they accumulate, and they are extremely destructive and um, can cause all sorts of things, including CFCs and anything, any kind of damage. And so our body has two fantastic mechanisms for eliminating that, for neutralizing it, and that is we produce molecular hydrogen in our bowels up to 10 liters a day that completely neutralizes hydroxyl radical. And then melatonin at night. Each melatonin molecule grabs four of those guys, four hydroxyl radicals. So day and night, we're just continually. So in that regard, they're not helpful. However, when they're connected to these different kinds of chemicals, and then they are actually extremely helpful, anti-CFC, antioxidant, and all that sort of thing. That's why when this is this illustrates the point that you can't figure it out. You can't say, well, this is good and that's there. Nothing is good and bad in nature. Nature, everything that exists in nature exists because it's necessary. It's not good or bad. It's just necessary. There's no good or bad. What does good or bad mean? Good means what? What does it mean? Oh, it's not bad. Well, what does bad mean? Well, not good. I mean, what does it mean? I don't know what it means. Good means what? Anybody have a definition of good? Don't give me these weird answers. Give me a definition of good. Come on, don't say this. God likes good or no. This is not a romper room. This is not nursery school. Give me a definition of good and a definition of bad. There's no definition. It's a judgment. Judge ye not, lest ye be judged. All right, by that which ye judge. I didn't say that. Hey, I'm not. I didn't say that. I'm just repeating it. Okay. What do we got here? Oh my God. Okay, so all right, so Phuket. All right, yeah, Kathy in Phuket. Yes, what a place to be. Can you imagine? How did you get there, Kathy? I mean, how'd you wind up in of all the places on planet Earth? You wind up in Phuket. I mean, it's just called providence, karma, will of God. Any other ones? Destiny. That's it. Providence, will of God, karma, destiny. Same thing. Anyway, ooh, okay. So Jerry, we got to talk. Jerry, you got to join the group. You got this really like specific questions, and I got to help you. Okay, man, come on with the left, right side. We got to talk. I'm gonna try to get to that, but I got to answer these questions. Come on, you guys. Okay, so anyway, I just want you to understand that there are these chemicals. Now, why do plants produce polyphenols? Why would they do such a thing? Because they're out in the sun, and the sun has ultraviolet radiation, and we know that UVB, ultraviolet B is right. It's different than A and C, but UVB, causes can cause damage and stuff. And because the plant can't go get under the shade like you and I and a frog and all these other creatures that are move around, they're called animals because they're animated. Yeah, that's why we're classified zoologically under the animal. We're not animals. We're like above the animal. Well, okay, so we're not plants, correct? Okay, good. We agree on that. Okay, we're not plants and we're not minerals. So animal mineral. Hmm. Animate. Okay, let's think of the origin of the word, the Latin origin of the word. It means animate. You mean move. Of spirit. You move. We'll get into the real etymology because it's going to make everybody come up with all kinds of. By the way, most people don't really come up with any ideas. Most people are repeating what they heard. Most people are passing on hearsay. Most people don't read original documents of original what are called the classics, right? We don't read the classics. We read opinions about the classics. Have everybody read the classics? Who's read Homer, the Iliad and the Odyssey? Read that? Read the complete works of Plato, of Aristotle, Pythagoras, Sir Isaac Newton. How about some of the 19th century, you know, philosophers, 18th century. Like, how about Rousseau? Rousseau, have you read Rousseau? How about Thoreau. How about yeah. In other words, we don't read all the classics, so our opinions are based upon people who have read that, and a lot of them are people that have read about people that have read the classics. Freud, have you read original Freudian work? Like he wrote The Interpretation of Dreams. How about Jung? Or Jungian, read Jungian literature. Um, no. So, how about H.P. Blavatsky? Anybody read H.P. Blavatsky? Ledbetter. Um, Steiner, Rudolf Steiner, read original writings by Rudolf Steiner. Anne Besant. Usually not. Usually not. So most people's opinions are what they heard and they were told that they should. They haven't examined themselves, and a life unexamined is unexamined. So anyway, polyphenols are produced by plants to protect themselves from UV light, and we now know that we even get that benefit passed on, because now they're very, very potent antioxidants, and we get that benefit when we eat them. Yeah, polyphenols are essential to our lives. We couldn't survive without them. Okay, we get them. So by the way, now for those of you who are like dedicated corpse eaters, I just want you to know that when you're eating the corpse, and I stopped eating plants, I just eat corpse now. All right, there are people that say that. Yeah, I talk. Yeah, yeah. Only eat corpses, and okay. I get there ain't nothing you get from a plant that you can't get in a corpse. Well, true if you're eating all like the whole animal, eating the organs and drinking the blood. You got to get all that stuff because that where did they get it from? They got it from the plants. Shh, don't tell anyone. Shh. Yeah, they got it from the plants. Because when you eat animals, do you usually eat animals that eat animals? Do you eat dogs or cats? I mean, some people. Nah, we usually don't. We usually eat animals that eat plants, like I don't know, cows, sheep, chickens don't eat. Chickens eat. If you saw what a chicken ate, I don't know if you'd ever eat a chicken again. They eat anything, including their sister's poop, whatever, whatever. They eat it. They're great if you have scorpions. They were good for me in Arizona. Problem is the chickens were awake in the day and the scorpions were awake at night, so they had a hard time meeting. But I helped them meet each other. Yeah, I was kind of a matchmaker in those days. Um, yeah, I'd get a scorpion and I'd introduce it to a chicken. One day I walked in and there's a chicken sitting. He looked like it was like a cartoon. Its body was like blobbed all over the floor, and then I found out it had got bitten by a scorpion. And it was paralyzed. So I took my chicken to the vet. Can you imagine? It cost like $100 to get IVs and stuff. And can you imagine taking a chicken? Most people say, just kill it and eat it. Anyway, if you want to get your polyphenols from plants, you got to make sure you're drinking from animals, you got to make sure that you're drinking the blood. Yeah. So polyphenols, there's subgroups called tannins, flavonoids, and phenolic acids. And under the flavonoids, we have catechins like quercetin, and we have camphorol. I'm familiar with camphorol. And all of these things are different groups, and the reason they differ a little bit by the number of hydroxyl groups and what some of the central molecules are. But basically, they have a lot of things. So the tannins, are they have a central core of gallic acid or ellagic acid, right? And that's what we find in green tea, right? And stuff like that. Anyway, these guys can grab iron, to get back to the original question. They can grab iron, yeah. But they're really fantastic. So you drink the green tea, and you just don't drink it with meals or after meals. And you don't eat anything. And fruit is neither an appetizer nor a dessert. Okay, it's a meal in and of itself. All right, so just eat fruit. When you're gonna eat fruit, just eat fruit, but don't eat it, mix it. Don't mix it up. Unless you're making green juices and things like that and smoothies, and you need to make them delicious, you're gonna add fruits for that reason. Okay, and then it's not because of the way you're doing it. It's absolutely fine. All right, so, but this is just the way it is, right? It's just the way it is. So, and you understand that when we're talking about these compounds, right? Like they're like in olive oil, right? There, there's hydroxytyrosol, which is in olive oil. Powerful anti-inflammatory, powerful antioxidant, and also eliminates the environment in which CFCs survive. Like it's pretty cool. And then there's other ones that actually cause apoptosis of CFCs. And then you all heard of lutein and zeaxanthin, right? Those are carotenoids, part of the vitamin A family. They have powerful anti-tumor effects. And what aspect of the molecules, have that anti-tumor effect? The hydroxyl radical, the hydroxyl parts of it. So we can't say, okay, hydroxyl radicals are bad. Oh, no, they're good. No, neither. They're necessary, and they have different effects in different environment, which is why you can't control or figure out nature. You can't say, I'm going to do a ketogenic diet. Well, there's nothing in the world that's more ketogenic than water. Don't eat, just drink a ton of water. It's called a water fast. You'll be in ketosis within 48 hours. Within 72 hours, you'll be in high ketosis. You'll be probably at therapeutic level where your glucose to ketone index is less, maybe 1 or a little bit less than 1. You want to get less than 1. So, and you're not going to get there by any kind of food. I don't care which, unless you're eating like you're just going around and picking off the fat around a pork chop, you're just eating the fat. A steak, you're just eating the fat. The bacon, you're taking and throwing at the meat and just eating the fat. Yeah, I guess you could get there that way. Maybe. I don't know. I've never tried. I mean, I've never had anyone do it. We did it with plant-based, you know, seeds, nuts, and still we still had to do 1 or 2 days of water just to make sure to keep us in therapeutic ketosis. Anyway, very hard to get. But anyway, the point is this: after 41 days of water fast, super ketogenic diet, finger stick glucose, it was normal. Why? Because we need it. We're gonna make it. So, in other words, you can't say, "Well, I'm gonna get rid of the glucose." You can't. You're dead. I'm gonna get rid of the glutamine. You can't. You're dead because they're. So we can't do that. So we have to say, wait a minute. I can't. You mean anything a CFC needs, my healthy cells need. So if I successfully eliminate it for my CFCs, then I've also eliminated it for my what do you call it? Healthy cells. That's not cool, right? No, it's not cool. So you can't. In other words, what I want, what I, if I could like get you to comprehend one thing, or I want to restore your awe and respect for this body and for nature, and just realize that the way it's all. I mean, okay. If you were to look into one cell, it's way beyond our understanding what's going on and how it's happening. Now, imagine we've got at minimum 37 trillion, probably closer to 100 trillion. And then inside of us, there's at least 100 trillion other organisms. And then outside of us, there's another 100 trillion. And then put us in a context of an environment where on the everywhere, there's all these cells and organisms. You can't see them, but they're there. Okay, so now, you need to know that there's no way on earth you can figure it out. You can say, okay, we don't know. Here's what we need to do. We need to do And that's why we were imbued with, given, blessed with, as part of our being, is called instinct. God gave us instinct. Instinct is how we plug into the divine. It's how we know. That's how the spider knows how to spin the web. It's how the uh, bird knows how to fly. In formation, right? Perfectly. Um, it's all ants. What are ants doing? And what are they? Did they, like, are they all? Did they all like go to construction school and now they know how to? They're like extremely busy. Ever see anything more busy than ants? I haven't. Bees are kind of busy, but on the other hand, dogs aren't busy. They're our best friends, right? Um, anyway, but ants are busy. By the way, do you think each ant is an individual? Is it an individual? Do you ever see an ant without the other ants? I wouldn't say ants are individuals. Some people might think they're individuals, but I think antness exists, and antness happens because it's a necessity for the entire forest. This forest, this major ecosystem, requires ants. It's part of what it needs. It's like it requires trees. Forests require trees. I mean, this forest is defined by trees, ants. All these things are everything that exists out because it has a particular set of functions that it has, and these functions are required for the whole to exist. Right? Understand that? So, if you okay, so um, anyway, and you know that expression, you can't see the forest for the trees. Well, anyway, let's think about what that means. You can't see the forest because you're looking at the tree. But you know what we're doing now? You know what science is doing? Science, it's a scientific method. We're looking at the bacteria in the wing of the fly that is on a leaf on that tree in the forest. Do you think we're going to see the forest? No. So we lose sight of the forest. In other words, we lose sight of what's going on because it's always very important before you even answer a question or you want to come to any conclusion. Step up, step back, and take a look at the whole process and understand what is at least understand that because you cannot answer a question or evaluate a situation just looking at that because you need to see it in its context. All right, and that's what I really try to do when I teach is give you context so that you can answer it. But anyway, lutein and xanthine are parts of the carotenoids, the vitamin, what we call vitamin A, right? And where do we find these? We find these in dark leafy greens, peas, summer squash, pumpkin, right? Pumpkin and pumpkin seeds, right? Brussels sprouts, broccoli, asparagus, lettuce, carrots, pistachios, but not uh, uh, chicken nuggets and not gizzards and not. Uh, and you might find some in eyeballs. If you ate eyeballs, but you can't cook the eyeball. So if you're going to eat the eyeball, eat the eye. Come on, come on. Be a man or be a woman and eat that eyeball. Okay? Oh, I'm a carnivore. Hey, carnivores eat that. You think carnivores cook? Do you ever see lions barbecuing? I've never seen a lion. I've been around. I've gone to all these places, these different continents. I've never seen lions barbecuing or tigers barbecue. They just don't do it. They're lost, right? They should be barbecuing. They would enjoy it a lot more. I know. But anyway, they don't barbecue, so they wind up eating the eyeball the way it is. And guess what they're getting? Oh, they're getting all the vitamin A. But where the animal get it? Oh my God, The plant, oh my God. Oh, blasphemy, right? We shouldn't talk about that. I'll never get over this, you guys. I'll never get over the people that think we're carnivores. I'll never get over it. You know why? Because we're not. And that's it. I'm gonna block. If block me, get out of here. If you don't think it's, if you want to have a debate, let's talk about it. I'm ready to talk about that anytime. By the way, I'm coming. I've finally got a good juice fast for carnivore, for you corpse eaters, because you're not carnivores. I haven't met any I've never met a carnivore. I mean, a human carnivore. Never. Maybe not even Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't, was he? Nah, nah. He had ate the pieces. Yeah. So, um, anyway, I've never met a human carnivore. Human corpse eaters, ghouls, right? A ghoul is someone who devours dead bodies. So, but I've got the good juice fast, because we all need to do juice cleanses. All of us need to do juice cleanses, right? So we know what the plant eaters will eat. So I've got it, and I'm working on. I'm going to actually make a presentation for, because I feel like I need to do that. Right. So we talked about the xanthine, the lutein, right, which are carotenoids, but they're also part of the polyphenol group, right? Yeah, flavonoids, right? And that's why we take Valasta. Valasta is a zeaxanthin. Yeah, so they're all very similar. Okay, the green tea has polyphenols. Yeah, okay. Uh, anyway, so the answer is yes. That would bind it up. So don't drink green tea or black tea, which is even more strong, like double the ability to bind iron. Um, and we're talking about non-heme iron. What I mean by non-heme iron, hemoglobin has iron, and hemoglobin is in blood. So in non-heme iron, but if you're drinking blood, then uh, yeah, because it takes place. You could probably drink a little bit of green tea while you're eating. If you're drinking blood, you can also drink some green tea. And drinking blood means, I like my steak rare. You know what I'm talking about, or medium rare. I want to see that pink. That pink is what? Diluted blood. No. Yeah. White meat, red meat. White meat, red meat. What's the red? Blood. Okay. By the way, there's no white meat. It's just flesh that has had the blood vessels removed. And I'm telling you, if you think chicken is white meat, um, watch when they stab it and kill it. It blood comes out. I know you might think, what's this guy talking about? Why is he talking about all this stuff? I'm talking about it because it's extremely relevant, because we're talking about people here who want to keep on breathing. We all will love. So, like, is that not one of our big, like, I guess it's up there, right? Is it number one with our habits? Number one, or on my to-do list, goes without saying, I want to keep breathing, right? I like breathing. It's fun. Uh, how do we do that? How do we keep breathing and feeling good? I don't want to be breathing and feeling horrible. No. Right? How do we do that? That's what we're talking about. So that's why I talk about what I talk about. And I use sarcasm, and I use uh, uh, what else do I use? Humor and sarcasm, because I mean, a lot. Otherwise, I can't get through. Right? When I'm talking, when I've talked to people a lot of times, and I can just see the big wall. They can't hear it. No, 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 no. Right? It's like, it'd be like talking to someone who's got earphones on. They're not going to hear it. So there's two ways. You can shock them by saying something. Oh, did he say that? And when they do that, they hear it. Or when you make them laugh, because when you go, when you laugh, again, you open up. Laughter and shock open you up for a second. We got to use those. Those are ways we have to use those, right? Anyway, so the bottom line: don't drink while you're eating, right? And don't eat fruit while you're eating other stuff, or eat just fruit. And if you're eating food that's human food, you won't be thirsty while you're eating. All right. So now here's a question. This is from Marilyn. Please, could you help my friend's mom? She has COPD. For those that you don't know, chronic obstructive pulmonary lung disease. She smoked 15 cigarettes for 45 years. She does not have a machine and it's getting worse. A machine. I I don't know if that's a typo or, but I don't know what you mean. Can you give any natural advice, please? Also, can you speak about diminished hearing in one ear? All right, so the COPD, and very good chance it's related to, smoking 15 cigarettes for 45 years. So something very natural to do is to stop the smoking. I mean, that reminds me. I've talked about. There's a book called Toxemia Explained by Dr. John Tilden, uh, published in 1915, and where I mean, I 100% with this guy. The only difference I would have with him and a lot of people is he says, instead of looking for cures, why don't we stop building disease? That makes a lot of intuitive sense. However, since I don't, since I recognize, and you, if you listen to what when we talk about it, that there are no diseases. There are only physiological adaptations, which we name as diseases. Okay, therefore, I wouldn't put it that way. I would agree with him. I'd say it's so instead of looking for a cure, which makes no sense, there's nothing to cure. Why don't we stop degrading our health? So that we're not building things that don't exist. No, we're lessening our health by not allowing our bodies and our minds to have everything they need. Because what they have everything they need, we're optimally functioning, which is health. So instead of using the D word, I don't use that D word unless I have to. I just say let's not do things that will diminish our health. So instead of looking for a cure, let's stop diminishing our health. And the way we stop diminishing our health is by procuring it, by supporting it. And how do we support health? By living according to our biological requirements and psychological requirements. Living a life that satisfies our biological requirements. It really doesn't get any simpler than that. And then the question is, what are our biological requirements? Well, I've got them. Okay, so those ants we were talking about, they do not have to contemplate or study what it is they should be eating, when they should sleep. Do they sleep? Do ants sleep? That's a good question. Do ants sleep? They must. I mean, they've got to sleep. I mean, some of them are taking a break. They must. But I've never seen sleeping colonies or sleeping areas. But of course, I'm not up during the night, so I don't know what the ants are doing at night. Do ants stop at night? Anybody know this answer to this question? Wow. Now that's something I've got to figure out by the end of the day. But anyway, um, so no creature needs to study what it is they need to eat because they're connected to instinct. We talked about that a moment ago. They're connected to instinct. We're not. We're not connected to instinct. Why? Because we grow up with three basic imperatives from our parents, and that is no, stop, don't, no, stop, don't, no, stop, don't, no, stop, don't, right? In whatever language. And we learn real quickly that our instincts are completely unacceptable. Don't touch yourself there. Don't blah, 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 don't sit like that. Now, when your Uncle Charlie comes, I want you to. All right, so yeah, again, so we are completely kicked out of the paradise of instinct. Metaphor there, yes, we're kicked out of the paradise of instinct, and we're stuck with trying to figure it out, and it is impossible. I think we should eat according to our blood groups. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to explain that to the horses who have 7 blood groups and dogs. 7 or 10, 11. All these different animals have all these different blood groups. Are they eating according to the blood group? No. It's not fair. How can we have to eat according to our blood group and they don't? Because we don't. Because there's no such thing. There's no relationship. Except the Amato made a lot of money, a ton of money, ton of money. It's still considered like you know, it made its way. It's right in there in the middle of all the things. And vegetarian, carnivore, blood group. I mean, it's part of the thing. It made it into somehow. It's became part of the debate. So I'm yeah. Anyway, so we have these kinds of discussions. Yeah, I want to know what blood group are you. That's going to tell me what you should eat. According to my blood group, I should be eating animals. So um, I wonder how I made it all these years. It was 55 years not eating animal. How did I do that? How did I make it? Because I'm supposed to, right? According to my blood group. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Or there isn't. I don't know. I should ask D'Amato. Yeah, he might know how I made it. But I gotta find out what because my cat. I mean, dogs. If you have a dog, check out because find out what blood groups they have. And horses. If you have horses, I know somebody out there who has horses. Um, and I know you love your horses. Figure out what blood group they're on and feed them accordingly. Yeah, I know the horse doesn't want to eat hamburger, but I mean, hey, what does the horse know, right? We know better. Okay, let's skip that. Okay, where were we now? The question was, oh yeah, so the COPD. So just okay, one thing is you just don't smoke anymore, and you'll be amazed how much you recover. And then what else you're gonna do? Everyone knows this. You're gonna do a cleanse, and your biological dentistry. You're gonna do a juice cleanse. You're gonna do colon hydrotherapy, clean out your your colon. You do lymphatic work. You're gonna do all this stuff, all the same thing. You're gonna go to an enlightened physician uh, and get your hormones balanced appropriately and everything, right? And then after you do her prolonged juice cleanse, minimum 3 weeks, then eat only human food with 18 hours between last and first meals from one day to the next, and go to sleep early and move around all day. It doesn't change regardless of whatever problem there is with the garden. I've got to do the same thing, and that is I've got to make sure the soil is cleansed and I've got all the right stuff in it. I've got the worms and I've got all the stuff that the soil needs, and I've got to have the water and access to sun. I've got to do that regardless of what's going on in the garden, and regardless of what kind of problems what's happening. So I got to. Yeah, it's the same with us. Now, I don't know what you mean, Marilyn, by she does not have a machine and is getting worse. You mean I don't know what you mean. Can I give any natural advice, please? But I just said, all that stuff. Pranayama, breathing. You'll be surprised how much her lungs clean. Or and I don't know how severe the COPD is, but COPD is things like asthma, emphysema, like a severe bronchiectasis, bronchitis, chronic bronchitis. These are chronically obstructive pulmonary diseases. So actually, emphysema is a chronic restrictive pulmonary disease because it's a restrictive, not obstructive. But yeah. Um, now, diminished hearing in one ear was your other question. Can I speak about it? Well, it's interesting. Unilateral hearing loss. Now, here's the bizarre thing. Do you know that it's almost laughable that they call this it's a diagnosis. It's called it's either called unilateral hearing loss or there's another diagnosis. It's called single side deafness. Single side deafness. And they distinguish between unilateral hearing loss and single side deafness. Single side deafness. And they distinguish it. It's clear just in the words, right? But no. They have to have a definition. A single side deafness means there's absolutely no that ear. Yeah, you can't hear it all. Okay, get that. And the hearing loss means you just lost it. Okay. Yeah, duh. Okay, but they distinguish. Don't get confused. We're not confused. You're confused because you brought up this question. God. By the way, now, why do people get single-sided unilateral hearing loss? Right? All right. I mean, how do you get it? Well, you can have a lot of wax build up. You can actually get a ruptured tympanic membrane eardrum infection. You can get otitis externa, which is the outside of the external auditory canal is infected, or you can get you can get into the middle ear infection, otitis media, head injuries, vascular complications that you get. What are vascular complications? It means your blood vessels are getting plugged up with junk, and the lining, the endothelial cells are becoming rigid. So that's vascular, or it can be there's something that they call sudden sensory neural hearing loss. Sensory neural, meaning that there's a sudden at the cellular level of the ear, sudden loss. Now I guess they believe that happens, right? Just suddenly stops. Okay, so it's amazing is they don't even look at they name the possible relationships of causes, but then that's it. When they talk about treatment, it's not something completely different. But by the way, so unilateral hearing loss can be congenital, meaning it's there at birth, right? It can happen. Okay, it can. Now there can be something they're called benign. They're called benign growths because they're not malignant growths, but it's a neuroma. In other words, it's like a lipoma that grow. A lipoma on the nerve. It's called a neuroma. It's called an acoustic neuroma because it's on your acoustic nerve you have cranial nerves, right? So there's an acoustic neuroma, and then they say autoimmune diseases. Again, there's no such thing, but that can cause it. And then I love this. The other cause, and this is found in almost all. They're saying that it's idiopathic. What's the cause? Well, it's idiopathic. Do you know what idiopathic means? Anybody know what idiopathic means? Anybody know what idiopathic? You can't hear my audio. Can you hear my audio? Can you guys hear me? Anyway, idiopathic means the doctor's an idiot and the patient's pathetic. But they don't. That's how I remember it. But anyway, they in other words, they don't know. But nevertheless, about 60,000 people a year get unilateral hearing loss. So their answers are mechanical. They're going to give you hearing aids. They're going to do this and that and this and that. They're going to give you crutches instead of figuring out how it happened. Well, the way it happened is what we talked about. It's the vascular and your if you have growths or anything, all of that is happening because of accumulated toxicities. And so you've got to cleanse. You've got to, if you got ear, sinus, anything like that, you've got to for sure look at your biological things. Get a biological test. So, so we have to take a look at wholeness. Don't separate your whatever your symptoms. You're focusing your symptoms on one aspect of your body, like unilateral hearing loss. But it's not just that. That whatever is happening that's causing that is part of a systemic process, because our body is one system. It's not multiple systems, which doesn't even make sense and it's hard to define. Our body is one system. Okay, so just please remember that. Okay, so don't look for you've got to cleanse. You got to get your blood vessels working, and you can't like only get you can't only improve your blood or your vasculature or blood flow in one part of your body. You can't do that. It's all or nothing. It's the way it is. All right. Now, anyway, I hope. All right. So if you can, please, right. Keep that in mind. Okay, with the lateral hearing loss. Okay. Next question from Kat. Currently NED. I thought your name was Kat. Your name is Ned? Huh. Is it Ned or Kat? I'll call you Kat. And I'll assume NED is an acronym meaning no evidence of disease. Well, that's good. Guess what? There's no evidence of disease anywhere in the planet, ever. Why? Because there's no such thing as disease. I'm going to come up with a new acronym. It's called NEI. You know what NEI stands for? No evidence of illusion. We've got to have that, right? There's no evidence of an illusion, right? All right. So, and sleep. Great, thank you. They're different from humans, I would imagine. They take short naps throughout the day and night, which is called polyphasic sleeping pattern. Amazing, amazing. So they must step out of the herd, right, and sleep. That's amazing. Sleep. The ants do sleep. I'm good. I'm glad. So they're busy night and day, right? And they like individually or in groups go take naps and come back and join the. Wow, amazing. Huh. All right, so okay, so now so you got no evidence that okay, so apparently you had CFCs and they treated you somehow, and now they can't find it. So they changed your name from Kat to Ned. I think Kat sounds better. But anyway, now they found a non-bleeding gastric ulcer. You know why? Because they're looking for stuff like that. Why would they find it? Did you have symptoms? You had symptoms of pain, gastric ulcer. So gastric ulcers, as um, um, compared to duodenal ulcers, small intestine. Gastric ulcers usually when you eat something, you'll kind of relieve the pain. With the duodenal, when you eat something, it makes it worse. It's kind of a broad way to distinguish them. So Kat says, I'm juicing and lowered acidic foods, taking marshmallow, glutamine, zinc, carnosine, mebendazole. I had been taking berberine, resveratrol, quercetin, green tea, oregano, but cut them out for now. Any additional advice to heal ulcers? Just finishing 10 weeks of PPI. And don't want to continue. Good. And it's not caused by H. pylori. Okay, Kat, I've got to free you from the grip of their. It's called the Rockefeller back arm twist, the Rockefeller back arm twist. Here's they give you the words. Um, so PPI is a proton pump inhibitor. What is a proton? A proton is a proton. I mean, no one knows what a proton is, but a proton usually has a couple of electron with it, and you got to have two electrons to satisfy the outer orbit stuff. Anyway, but a naked proton is basically a hydrogen ion, cation, which is what acid is. So a proton pump inhibitor blocks our stomach from producing acid. Good idea? No. Why? Because without a very low pH, meaning a strong acid, we are in big trouble. So if you're going to avoid foods that have any acid in them, like well, lemons, vinegar, and what? Oranges. I mean, that does not have any relationship. And blocking your acid production is not helpful. So, what do we have to do? We have to heal the ulcer. One of the most healing uh, substances in the world is aloe vera. If you can eat, you can take and peel, get fresh aloe vera, big, thick, juicy leaves. Just peel off the skin, blend them in a blender, put something in it to make it taste good, and drink that. That's very, very good. The other thing is whether or not they found H. pylori or anything like that, uh, colloidal silver, and I would get the Argentin 23 from Natural Immunogenics. It's the only stuff I use. And because healing, silver is not only antimicrobial, but it's got healing. It's a healing properties as well. But the other thing about it is that it excuse me, I was up late last night with this accident I had. I didn't have it; it had me. Make that clear. I was just sitting there at the red light. Um, but okay, so the question is, how does the stomach get an erosion in it? Right, the stomach. How does it get an erosion? And there are multiple factors, but when we talk about H. pylori, right, as being causative, it's not really the way it is. When we have an entire ecosystem, I'm not just we have one, maybe you might want to call it one huge ecosystem inside of our body, and within them are smaller ecosystems depending on the environment. So like as our mouth, I think we have 6 or 7 different little areas of different ecosystems of microorganisms. So in our stomach, and like in all parts of our gut, are all sorts of microorganisms. And when they're in balance, when they're in harmony, um, we have no problems. My blood type was B. I'm a B. Am I supposed to eat? It's nonsense. Can you tell me what? Okay, what about a chimpanzee who's a B, or a bonobo, or a gorilla that's a B? Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Idiopathic means the doctor's an idiot and the patient's pathetic because the doctor doesn't know, and the patient's there thinking. You go to a doctor and ask them for help. There's already the problem. First of all, you shouldn't have to go to somebody else to ask them how you are. Hey, excuse me. Hey, can you tell me how I am? That person might be able to tell you how they are, but not how you are. Anyway, I know him. Oh, and but Lori, okay, so it's not a matter of believing in eating fish or meat. I don't believe in anything except Santa Claus. I do believe in Santa. Well, I believe I believe that I used to believe in Santa when I was like, not for very long, but anyway, for a while there, I believed in it. But that's about it. So here's the thing about eating and all that stuff. We should not believe in anything. We should find out about the truth so we either know it or not. Believe means I don't know, but I believe in it, right? I don't want to believe anything. I want to know. So, uh, anyway, okay. So this dysbiosis in our stomach winds up with these H. pylori because they kind of really like acidic environments. They can hang out there, and most other organisms can't live in an acid environment like that. Okay, so now all the other stuff you're taking is great. It's great, but we need to restore your gut GI your bio healthy bio, and the way we do that is only one way. There's only one way, and that's by eating the food that if we want a certain ratio and proportion of microorganisms to exist inside of us, and that this particular ratio of differing proportions of microorganisms are going to be producing are necessary for our optimal functioning, then we need to feed them what they need, and then they'll be there in those proportions. If we feed them differently, they'll change proportions. And guess what they like? Yep, yep, yep. I hope you were saying plants. Yeah, plants, fruits, nuts, seeds. That's what they like. And they don't like them. They don't like them cooked. Yeah, you know, that's what they like. So any degree to which we don't do that is the degree to which we'll have a mild dysbiosis. Period. Period. It does. There's no other way. And I'm taking probiotics. But if they can't find exactly what they want to eat, they're going to keep going. Anyway, I wish it wasn't that way, really, because listen. You know what? I wish eating pizzas was like the best thing in the world for you. Do you know how healthy I could be? If eating pizzas made you healthy, I know I would be like the healthiest person in the world. And pizza and pasta. If those things could make you healthy, oh my gosh, I would be. I'd live for. I would never. I would not go beyond 912 years. Yeah, but it, we wind up with a dysbiosis extremely extreme. So, and don't take proton pumps inhibitors. Okay, you don't want to, at least you don't want to lessen the acid in your stomach. Your stomach needs to be acidic, so you have to, that ulcer needs to heal. I'm telling you, aloe, 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 and the glutamine is a good idea, dude. Aloe and glutamine, but aloe, aloe, aloe. Drink a lot of it. Maria, a 55-year-old male discovered during an ultrasound initially, and later by CT and MRI, that he has a large hepatocellular adenoma around 7 centimeters. Ah, he's been taking venlafaxine, 225 milligrams a day, clopidogrel, 75 milligrams, and bisoprolol for the last 17 years. In the past 5 years, he's also added flecainide for the arrhythmia and wow, and some statins for his cholesterol. He's also a heavy smoker and very regular alcohol drinker. Obviously, the safest solution offered by the doctors is surgical removal. Could it be treated by some other way before he proceeds to surgery? and mainly to prevent the adenoma from transforming. Okay, wow. 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 All right, so let's look at this. So we're talking about a guy who is taking all these different medications, drugs, poisons, right? I mean, okay, for 17 years, right? So and he's also um I mean, you you you, you covered them all. I mean, not all of them, but I mean, the fact that uh he's taking statins, which are it's crazy. Um, it's crazy. I mean, okay, okay. So first of all, those drugs you mentioned at the beginning, right? The vaccine, whatever, how I don't know how they say that. Uh, they're stupid for making these words up. They should make them simpler. Wait. Venla vaccine. I guess you Venla vaccine, whatever. All right. It and the other ones are antidepressants. Why is he depressed? Let's not ask that question. Is he depressed? What is depression? Is depression feeling uh, sad or melancholy? I mean, what is it? It could be that. I'll tell you something. If I were eating really unhealthy and I was maybe overweight and I was drinking a lot, I'd probably be kind of bummed out. And I don't think that is needs to be like chemically hidden from me. I mean, if I'm not feeling good about my life and all that, then it's time for me to say, wait a minute, what do I need to do? How can I change this? Because if I don't, okay, so that's what we have to realize. Like pain is a symptom telling us stop whatever something, right? Itching is a symptom. Headaches, that's a pain. But anyway, nausea is a pain, is a symptom. Vomiting is a symptom. These are symptoms. Those are our body saying it's letting us know that it's out of balance. We have to restore balance. That's all we have to do. All right. So now, if I'm depressed, so I'm assuming that he was like extraordinarily depressed, maybe. But doctors give antidepressants for many reasons. But same reason they give antibiotics. They give antibiotics just because, here, take this antibiotic. You got a runny nose, take an antibiotic. Oh, you're not feeling good, or I can't find any reason why. Your thyroid looks fine. I don't, and you say that you're still here. Take these antidepressants. Anyway, so that's so he got on these antidepressants, and then he wound up having heart arrhythmias, and he's getting so they gave him the flecainide, and he's drinking and smoking and anti-cholesterol, the Lipitor and those kinds of things. What do they call it? Anyway, he's taking those drugs. So all this stuff is poisoning him and poisoning it. He'll never get better. He'll never get better, right? And so the adenoma. By the way, the this kind of, especially this kind of adenoma is what's important to understand about it. An adenoma is just it's a gland that has grown, but it seems to be benign. In other words, it's not a malignant, right? Okay, that's what an adenoma is. Now, this particular type of adenoma is, where is this here? We'll move this here. No. Ah, there we go. Okay. Anyway, so this particular type of adenoma is that gets in the liver. Happens often with women who are on birth control pills and things like that. I mean, when it happens, it's a rare condition, but something that happens in the liver like that. And you know what they call it, right? They call it hepatocellular adenoma because hepato refers to liver, right? Cellular refers to cell. Adenoma means a growth that's growing, a glandular growth that's benign. They also call it a hepatic adenoma. And they even call it a hepadenoma. It's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Anyway, it's a rare benign. Yeah. Okay. It's due to elevated systemic estrogens, which we find in women taking birth control pills, things like that, contraceptives. Okay. If you're drinking alcohol and eating in such a way that you get central adiposity, in other words, you get overweight in the belly, this increases estrogen. Both of those conditions can increase estrogen, which is why men get what's called man boobs. Man boobs are just from that. And so I mean, so that's a good reason why that's happening. So in that regard, we got to change the diet and cleanse and do all that. It's very, very important. Colonics, everything. You got to change it. It's going to stop drinking, stop smoking, or not. I mean, or not, and then don't. But if you want to like resolve this, you've got to clean it up. You've got to clean it up. Okay, you've got to clean it up. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that fatty liver comes from the same eating problem. So again, cleansing and eating human food is going to restore the integrity of the liver. However, and remember that a fibroadenoma, or what they're calling not fibroadenoma, a hepatic adenoma, can be confused with the echinococcal cysts that we see with tapeworm. Okay, and I mean, these cysts can get big. Do you realize that cysts that these stay in there for decades can actually have liters, not just one, liters of fluid? Be very, very big. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of other potential things it could be, but you got to get the estrogen, get his hormones balanced, and have him stop, lose the central adiposity. All those things to diminish that. Balance his hormones. He's a 55-year-old male, so he's testosterone's low, and the belly fat is going to convert a lot of the testosterone into estrogens, and so we got to change all that. We got to restore the balance. All right. So now, but let's also look at the possibility of parasites. Okay, because there are parasites. So it comes from the dog tapeworm, and the one thing about these parasites is that they originate in the original host are animals that eat animals, so meat eating animals. It comes out in their stool, and that's because these animals that are meat eating animals, we're talking about, the real ones, cats, maybe even hyenas. I don't know. Some dogs, raccoons. But they eat the organs of these animals. When they eat the organs, that's where because that organ will have the cyst in it. They'll get the cyst from eating that organ. Sheep, rodents, whatever they're eating. And there's kind of three different species of these types of tapeworms. But they can not only get in the liver, they can get into the lung, they can get into the brain, they can get in the spleen, they can get in the heart, they can get in the kidneys. Yeah, these cysts. Okay, so anyway, and this problem has been with humanity a long time. I mean, we found them in, not me, but archaeologists have found them in mummies, found them in, if they found any kind of preserved um, uh, uh, corpse, back from the Roman era and stuff like that, right? And we know that Hippocrates and Galen and all of them talked about it, these cysts. And of course, very interesting. In those days, they would treat it with garlic. Excuse me. Yeah, with garlic. Yeah, garlic was one of the main treatments, right? And uh, now we're a little bit different. We say if it's over a certain, if they're over a certain size, we've got to uh, do a surgical removal of it. But then we add albendazole or mebendazole, and we got to take it for maybe a couple of years, or sometimes they'll even add praziquantel. So, um, and the reason but if it's an adenoma, like they're saying it is, the problem with that is that it can bleed, and you can die if it bleeds. If it's big enough and it bleeds, you can die. So, if it's a cyst, that's another thing, and you've got to get rid of the cyst. Um, so, and remember, this condition goes way back. It's even discussed in the Talmud, Jewish scripture. So, um, and there was a they found a 8,000-year-old corpse in Siberia. Siberia is part of Russia that's really cold. 8,000-year-old corpse that had it. So yeah, but the corpse could have gotten it from the water or something, that from the feces of an animal or something. Who knows how it happened? And are there any other parasites that can cause cysts? Yes, lots of them. Okay. Um, I don't know if you've heard of larva migrans, right? There's visceral and ocular larval migrans. There's again different kinds of tapeworms, right? There's all kinds of tapeworms that can do it. And from trichinosis, the pig, okay, that organism. I don't know if you've heard of tri trypanosomas, trypanosomiasis, where people get the Chagas disease, where they get really large, like livers, large megacolon, and stuff like that. They can cause cysts, right? Um, and which is why I think most cysts in the body are parasites, and I think that's why doing a thorough parasite cleanse, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, with multiple different anti-helminthics, which are worms, and anti-protozoals, is very important. Do a good thorough one initially, and then do at least 2 months, 3 months, a year. Okay. Um, Now, so for Maria, for your 55-year-old male, this is really, he's just got to clean up, and he's got an arrhythmia. I don't know what kind of an arrhythmia he has, but a lot of arrhythmias come from ischemia, cardiac, and ischemia means lack of blood flow. And lack of blood flow is due to plugged up arteries and or spasming arteries. And these are the arteries that um, are feeding the heart muscle itself, right? So that's one part to cause these electrical disturbances. So is he? The question is he really? Is he willing to do this? Is he willing to change his life? That's the hard part. A lot of people aren't, right? So I mean, because you were talking as if he were not ready. I mean, as if he didn't want. Because is there anything else other than like surgery and stuff like that? Okay, so um, the other thing is this: if he's got, fleconide's, usually used for atrial fibrillation, but any kind of cardiac arrhythmia, it can be related to wisdom teeth. So if the wisdom teeth have been removed, which most people are, and they were removed by a regular dentist, they didn't take out the periodontal ligament, and so they wound up getting a cavitation, which is like a bone infection above that area, and they won't know it because it's not painful, it's not swollen or anything like that, but that will cause an arrhythmia in the heart. So that would be, he's got to go to biological dentist. So it turns out that everybody has to do the same thing: go to biological, a real one who knows how to read 3D cone beam CTs, do a thorough juice cleanse, and then eat human food. And just, it's always the same thing. It's amazing. So, I mean, I'm amazed. Um, it's okay. These adenomas can turn into CFCs, but it's not. I mean, it's not common, but it definitely does happen. So yeah, you don't want that to happen. You also don't want it to bleed. If it is an adenoma, and it's not a cyst. So we got to. I'm assuming it's everything, and clean out, blah, 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 biological, do it all, change diet, get healthy, and take anti-parasitic. Just do it all. All right. Now, this is from Peter. Since I started using IV mebendazole, well, yeah, IV comma mebendazole, black seed oil with other supplements, I experienced a great relief and improvement. My pains have almost disappeared. Swollen lymph nodes are gone. No, are not. Swollen lymph nodes are no gone. My energy and strength are back. My appetite is fantastic. I'm now doing weightlifting. Skin color's better. Okay, so I know the alternative treatment is responsible, but should I discontinue chemotherapy and stick to my alternative treatment? I still have two cycles to go, and probably radiation sessions. Well, Peter, yeah, I mean, I don't know your situation. I can't give you advice at all because I don't know your situation. But um, I do know that chemotherapy uh, ensures later metastasis. So that's what I know. I know that. And if you come to our group and I can share a Zoom, on Zoom, I can share research to show you. But it's like not a secret. So should you stop that? We've got two more cycles to go. I see. I don't know where you're at all, so it's really hard for me to advise you. But if you join the groups, I can talk to you more clearly and understand and give you some, direct advice. But in general, chemo is going to cause problems down the road with like really aggressive metastases. Yeah. Someone knocking at my door? No. Okay. All right. So now here we are. So let's go looking at Tasha. I was diagnosed with DCIS ER positive in grade 3, stage 0. The only treatment option I was offered was mastectomy. I am concerned about its spreading if I do this. I am a vegan and eat WFPB. I eat WFPD, PB, WFPB. Can anybody help me with that? Anybody help me with WFPB? Uh, you don't like pasta? Oh, you're lucky. Anyway, I don't know what you mean, but you're a vegan, and so are there any other treatment options than surgery? Yeah, and you've got stage zero. Okay, now remember, let's go back to basic mathematics. A whole food plant based. Wow, wow, that's what what is it? WFPB. Wow. Yeah, this is the question I've been having is when did we start saying plant based? What does that mean? I thought when I first heard that when you're saying plant based, meaning that, well, basically I eat plants, but I eat other stuff as well, non-plant, right? Otherwise, why would you say based? You would just say I eat plants. I eat plants. Right? Plant-based means basically plants, but or mostly plants. I don't know. So, okay, good. So here's the thing. You've got DCI is ductal carcinoma in situ, meaning it hasn't gone anywhere. It's still just there. It hasn't disrupted any of the architecture, so it's stage zero. Zero, when I remember my mathematics, meant nothing. Now's the time to do a thorough cleanse. Make sure you go to Emma, Dr. Emma in Glendale, California. Get the best biological dentist. Get that done. Do a cleanse, do colonics, do all that sort of thing. Uh, take the vitamin C, A, D, and um, melatonin, and balance your thyroid and your adrenals. Do all the stuff that we talk about, and you won't need. There's surgery. First of all, surgery is not going to do anything except damage you. It's going to damage you. I promise. I mean, it's trauma. You're going to use. There's physical trauma, and what you'll find out later is that there's psychological trauma because no matter how you look at it, when a woman loses one breast or both, she'll never feel the same. She just doesn't feel the same psychologically. And it doesn't matter if they've been, you've had augmentation therapy or plastic surgery and all that. It's just psychologically, it's not the same. So don't do that to yourself. And you don't have to. There's no reason at all. The fact that they offer this, and do you know the data? There's a lot of data that shows that all the unnecessary, uh, okay, but by calling stage zero and giving it a diagnosis and making it treatable by surgery, do you know what's happened as a result of this? How many women have died? Why do they die? They get the surgery and then sometimes chemo, and they get the morbidity from that. And the surgery now will cause maybe metastatic spread, most likely. Um, and if they do chemo, so in other words, the complications that go on from the beginning to getting pulled into this is what kills people, not DCIS and not uh, FCIS, follicular carcinoma, uh, which they, and I think that's the one they don't even uh, recommend surgery. But anyway, no, the answer is listen. If you were my patient, if my friend or my spouse or my daughter or whatever relative, I would say don't do it. And you can resolve this. It's just you've got some you got some cells that are beginning to ferment. You just make it unnecessary. You got to make it unnecessary. Okay. All right. Would a prostatectomy? Yes. Yes, it will spread. Surgery spread it, and will surgeries, and there's the literature's full of that. I mean, I could pull it up right now. There's just a lot of literature to show that. Right. So now, uh, there was a question before about estrogen receptor blockage, right? I guess you're talking about tamoxifen and some of the other ones. And okay, so my thoughts on that, and I've said it many times, and that is, instead of doing this, uh, okay, instead of using a synthetic agent to block estrogen receptor alpha, there are natural ways to do that. Estriol, which the body makes, is a beta agonist, which is an ER beta agonist, which shrinks tumors, and a little bit sits on the alpha. But because the beta is so strong, the net effect is beta shrinking. But because it's sitting on the alpha, it's blocking. Nothing else can sit on it. Same thing happens with soy, flax seeds. So that's how I would do that 100%. Just, I think someone's knocking at my door. Please hold one second. Wow. It's like going to the hospital, right? You go to the hospital and they tell you about all these things that are wrong with you. Here, I got somebody here to fix my roof, and I didn't know there was anything wrong with my roof. So now I know there's something wrong with my roof. Amazing. That's my answer, is that you were, Tasha, ER positive. Of course, ER positive. I mean, you have the breasts. Breasts are sensitive. Breasts, estrogen and breasts. Come on. don't listen to their words. The things are, you've got some mild fermenting cells. Just make them not need to ferment. It's very simple. Just do it and know that it's the right thing to do. And join our group so that I can show you research and stuff, because you got to realize that I'm not just making stuff up. All right, very important. Wait, what happened? Come on. You know, this is so sensitive. If I move my mouse, I lose the whole paper. Anyway, where are we here? Okay, what are your thoughts on Herceptin? I appear to be experiencing long-term anemia from it. Okay. Again, it's a synthetic substance that is blocking. Okay, our cells have growth. Um, they have the little antigens that can get stimulated on our cells to have them grow. Okay, so uh, epidermal means the outside of the dermis, right outside of the skin, epidermal. So think about it. The breasts are basically skin. Okay, I mean they're aspects of this. So because the skin has its appendages, the appendages of the skin are hair, uh, 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 glands, sweat glands, apocrine glands, uh, sebaceous glands. There's different kinds of glands. So and those glands and a breast itself is a gland in that it produces something, right? A gland produces a substance and excretes it. And so the breast has these little sacs that lead to the tubes, and the tubes take it out to the nipple, and that's the function of the breast. And then of course there's fat and connective tissue and all that around it to hold it, and we have breast. And so um, now, so there are growth factors. There's one, two, three, four, five. Growth epidermal growth factors, they call them, right? And there's five, six, or seven, I can't remember. But anyway, so the second one, epidermal growth factor 2, is the one that has, um, they say, overexpressed, right? And so you have that makes you HER2 positive, because HER2, HER1, HER3, they're all the same as the epidermal growth factors. So in other words, this is happening, and the reason that's happening, the reason there's been an epigenetic change, modification in your cell, is because your cells are responding to the environment they live in. So whatever a cell's doing, it's doing it in response to its environment. If you change the environment, you'll change what the cell does. It's really that simple. So again, yeah, you're getting anemia. It's rare, but it doesn't matter if it's happening to you. It's no rare. It's happening. So that's why it's time to get off of this. And it's not and you've got to have the confidence to know that it's not a problem. So hopefully you've done your biological test, you've cleaned that, you've done all that, you're eating healthy, then you stop it. But if you haven't, then you maybe you wean off it, and then you just get clean, get healthy, make your cells not need to do that, because they're upregulating epidermal growth factor 2, because for some reason that they need to do that, and they're doing. We don't understand the way cells operate. They operate under some divine, incredible thing. So, all right, so we will never understand it. We just we need to know that we need to restore a balance, integrity, provide what's necessary, and get rid of the garbage. And that's really, it always comes down to that. So, Deb, yeah, those are my thoughts. Don't need this. Believe me, you weren't born with a Herceptin deficiency. Lavona, my cousin has stage 4 colon CFCs. I'm trying to find a way to help her. She's really sick. All right, well, I don't know if she's sick from chemo or whatever, but yeah, she's got to join our group, or you join it with her or for her or something, because there's so much you can do, and you got to get started right away. everything from biological dentistry to everything. I don't know. I don't know where she's at. So it sounds like she's very sick. I just don't know if it's sick from what. So I've got to talk to you. I can't, or her. Okay, so Elaine, what are your thoughts on Dr. Wendy Selland's view that all estrogens are fueling breast CFCs? Cup of flax equals 20 birth control pills. No, I don't agree. I don't know who she is, but I don't agree at all. I don't agree at all because there are two estrogen receptors, alpha and beta. Alpha makes things grow, beta makes things shrink. So if you stimulate the alpha, you're going to grow. If you stimulate the beta, you're going to shrink. Flax stimulates the beta. Soy stimulates the beta. So how can I say that? How does she say that? I don't know how she says that. It's just not true. Debbie, I hope you're listening, and I hope you might want to have a talk with me. Send me a note. Wow, Elaine, tell Debbie we've got to talk. I mean, Wendy. I'm sorry, Wendy. Dr. Wendy. Not the same. I'll show you the research. I'm not. Yeah, I'll show you the research. Yeah, I mean, God, I wish we had a Zoom right now so I could show you the research. Let me see. I can't. I can't show you the research, but baby, let me see. I just want to read the article for you. So, uh, 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 okay, so what do we got here? Let's look at this. Here we go. Okay. Uh, all right, so anyway, so okay, here, let me just read a little bit. Like here. The name of this article is 2018. It's called "The Effect of Flaxseed in Breast Cancer: A Literature Review." Okay, it's there's no breast cancer. I'm gonna have to use their word. Sorry, breast cancer is one of the most common CFCs in the second most responsible for CFC mortality worldwide. In Portugal, approximately 27,200 people died of CFCs, of which 1,791 were women with breast CFCs. Flaxseeds has been one of the most studied views regarding it is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, alpha-linolenic, lignans, and fiber. One of the main components of flaxseed is the lignans, of which 95% are made of the predominantly cecoisolaric resinol diglucoside, which is converted into enterolactone and enterodiol, both with anti-estrogen activity. wait, did I say that? Yeah, that's what it says. And structurally similar to estrogen. They can bind to cell receptors, decreasing cell growth. I'll say that once again. They can bind to cell receptors, decreasing cell growth. Some studies have shown that the intake of omega-3 fatty acids is related to the reduction of breast CFC risk. In animal studies, alpha-linolenic acid has been shown to be able to suppress growth, size, and proliferation of CFC cells, cancer cells, again, and to promote breast CFC cancer cell death, promote death. Other animal studies found that the intake of flax seeds combined with tamoxifen can reduce tumor size to a greater extent than taking tamoxifen alone. Additionally, some clinical trials showed that flax seeds can have an important role in decreasing breast CFC risk. I mean, that's just one study. I mean, there are. Let me see. I mean, and you. Uh, here's another. Just one more. Okay, just one more because I'm always saying things that people think that I just make it up, and I just got promised you I don't make it up. Here's 2018 again, and the effect of flax seeds in breast cancer. Oh, that's the same thing I just read. Okay, just published differently. Okay. PubMed. Here's a PubMed. Here's a PubMed. Here's a PubMed. Okay, you guys ready? Ready, ready, ready. Uh, dietary flaxseed alters tumor biological markers in postmenopausal breast CFCs. Anyway, the conclusion was flaxseed, the richest source of mammalian lignin precursors, has previously been shown to reduce the growth of tumors in rats. Anyway, they did all this. They had a reduction in K67 labeling, which you all know K67 means it's aggressive. Anyway, there's nothing but the opposite of what she's saying. So I don't know what to say to her, except that I'd love to talk to her and help her, point her in the right direction for how to things to read, so that she can learn how to do this. Okay, learn a little bit more. It's very important. Okay, now what? Here's a question with from Kim. It says, when bed bugs bite, do they lay eggs under the skin of the host? Uh, no, it's not. It's not the same as when we think of uh like if you're thinking of what do you call it remember we've talked about the ectoparasites like the bot fly, and it lays eggs and the larvae go into under the skin, right? So, all right, so that's not something that happens with the what do you call it, with bed bugs, you know. So I mean, um, but when you say you have bed bugs, what have you seen them? I mean, are they can are you do you seeing them? Uh, the eggs do not enter you, the host. Uh, they'll lay their eggs close to close to you. They'll lay their eggs there, and, but they can't enter you. Okay, and you know they're not like like some of the worms. They only make about 7 or 8 eggs a day instead of up to 70,000 that those other guys do, right? Um, yeah. Anyway, they can live on the beds, and they can live in the areas that are moist, and anyway, but believe me, the eggs cannot enter you. But what you got to do is get rid of these guys. You get rid of them by washing the sheets. Really, put peroxide in the washing machine. Get 6% peroxide. Put that in, and then bathe yourself. And you can do peroxide baths and stuff like that. And then you change your clothing, and just like people that have almost like people that have lice, they have to change their clothing and stuff like that, right? So yeah. Ah, but wow, it's a bummer. But you can get rid of them. It's one of the easier things to get rid of. Okay. Um, okay. So one of the last question. Let's do the last question here. It's by Marina. Um, what could be the reason for low ferritin but normal iron? Ferritin is 13. Iron is 117. Saturation and binding capacity also normal. White blood cells borderline low at 3.5. It's been like this since I remember. Otherwise, no health issues. Very active and healthy lifestyle. Organic, raw, vegan for decades. Yay, Marina. Wow, you go. Yeah. Well, it's a low ferritin when looking at the bell shaped curve of the average person who is not a healthy person like you. So you can't really, whether, okay, you may be low, but you may be healthy. Since you're healthy, you are healthy. I mean, so that's now now we know. Okay. And your iron's about 117. Is that always that high? That's high, but I mean, if it's not, so the ferritin is iron storage. So if the ferritin is not storing, so and although ferritin is an iron storage, and it also goes up when you're having an acute inflammatory condition. So you're having neither. Your ferritin iron ratio is like perfect, more than perfect. I mean, um, don't worry about it. If you've been eating for decades this way, then unless you get like exposed to really high, lots of 5G, or you get exposed to, uh, you know, ionizing radiation, like at Fukushima or something. Unless you get some sort of like that, unless you get a lot of that, you're gonna, have no problem with anything. Um, yeah, so I wouldn't even check anymore because you don't remember you're such a healthy you're in a healthy group, so you have no peers, no references. There's no reference range for you. You are the reference range, okay? Because you don't have a healthy group. All right, it's like, yeah, like cholesterol numbers and stuff. Like, I've always been considered have low cholesterol because I don't eat other creatures' cholesterol. I'm sure you have a low cholesterol too. Anyway, you folks, that's it for today. Thank you, and let's do this again next month, next week. But you come on, join these groups so that we can interact, because there's all these great questions that I feel so that I can't get to them, and I want to get to them. It's crazy that I can't get to them. Where are you? Wait, get out of here. Where are you? Where are you? Come on. What? There we go. Okay. Yeah. Here, look at. Good, Bernice. You good. You want to stay away from them. Uh, how do we join the groups? Joel, Patty, you join the group by going to drlodi.com, and right there you'll see it. Right when you get on the page, it's 3 different groups. You can find it right there, drlodi.com. Okay, good. So you're on X. I'm still just now seeing you guys from the. Uh, oh my God. So there's so much. I mean, whoa, my God. So Cheryl's telling me that here that they're giving dogs antidepressants. So, you know, hey, I don't understand. Oh, Margie, I'm sorry I'm making you yawn. I was kind of sleepy today. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's terrible. Let's see. Blood type, dad smoked heavily for years, and he was 84 when he died. So listen, I think the most important thing we learned today, ants sleep. That's amazing. Amazing. I've never seen a sleeping ant. Wow. Do they dream? Anyway, Sweaty Cop, Namaste, Namaskar, Aloha, and have a fantastic week. And don't believe anything out there. Anything. Don't believe anything. Say, thank you very much. Show me the research, or you look it up or something. Okay, don't believe, because uh, it's not true. None of it's true. 99.9% of what you run into is not true. Okay. And so that's the problem. So you've got to become your own researcher. You've got to have a library. You've got to read, get books, get away from digital stuff, because digital stuff is going to be the end of us. It is the already, but read these books, I mean, this is a great book. Did you guys ever see this book here? It's old. Eating Animals. It's a great book. And here's a book too, great for a lot of the questions that we all have. Here, Clinical Microbiology, made ridiculously simple. All right, just to get you into some of that. Oh, here's another very important book you should all read. Okay, because your doctors don't know it, and they should. It's called The Safe Use of Cortisol. Amazing book, written by a doctor, of course. Anyway, where's my other book here? There was another book I wanted to share with you guys. We should do that one day. We should just do books. Where is it? Anyway, some of my original, the original Parasite books I was reading. Just so you have a background in understanding, because this subject has been around for a long time. Just to show you here, like here's this, and here is this. These are old books. I mean, 20 years ago. Anyway. Okay, you guys. All right. This is a good book I'm reading now. All right. What a cup.